Welcome back to the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show. We're listening to a little bit of Knee Deep. It's Tammie Davis doing a Zac Brown cover with Mr. Johnny Nichols on guitar. And we were just sitting here talking about Mr. Johnny Nichols, formerly of
Kitty Hawk.
Kitty Hawk, yeah. That's right. Now, are you one of those people, Tammie, that when you listen to yourself, maybe somebody's listening to a CD and you walk in the room, or you look on YouTube and you hear yourself singing or one of your songs? You know how like movie stars, they say they don't like to watch themselves in movies and things. Are you like one of those people that don't really like listening to yourself, or do you go, no, I like listening to?
I hate it.
At first, I really had a problem with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch any videos. I wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
But now it's like it doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother you?
Yeah.
Because I was watching you while the song was playing and you had your eyes closed and you were kind of doing that, and I was like, she sounds like she's enjoying what.
Most people sit there and you're like, God, why didn't I try to hit the, or
you
listen
ever
to yourself, you're like, ugh, I shouldn't have did that.
What do you ever second guess yourself, like when you've recorded the CD and you listen to it and you go, why didn't I, like Brian said, why didn't I go up, or why didn't I say this instead of that? Or
no, not really. When we recorded the CD, I was so green behind the ears. I didn't know what I was doing anyway, so I just did what they told me to.
But isn't that the job of most producers, though? You have a
right.
producer who tells you,
try
this, but
right.
when you do it on your own, you go in and you're like,
yeah,
I mean,
you've
hope
got,
this works.
I mean, I had producer, engineer, vocal coach, so they're all there.
Wow.
They're all putting in their 2 cents. So, as long as you listen and you try to do what they say, then, everything usually will come out okay.
Yeah.
But, now that I've got that under my belt, and I'm, the second album will be, I want to be a little bit more involved, because I feel like what's going to come out the second time is going to be more me. The first one was like an experiment. I feel like that's how I feel it was, because when you're starting up, it's like you really don't know yourself that well.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I like that song, but it's like it's really not exactly what I was trying to portray or what I was wanting to do. It's not that I'm unhappy with anything on the album. I love exactly what they did, but I just feel like there's some things that you'll see in the second time around.
Yeah,
it'll be more Tammie.
More you. Yeah.
Tell us about the songwriting process. Who do you work with?
Well, right now,
mostly you doing lyrics, and then somebody does the music, or you do music.
Well, it depends on what songwriter you're working.
Well, you play guitar as well, don't you?
Well, no, I dabble on guitar. I don't.
Well, that's why
I don't try to play in public. That would be embarrassing.
Oh, shit. I do it every weekend. It's pretty embarrassing.
I write my songs on piano. If I write by myself, I'm usually just
get the medley.
Me in the piano.
She's doing the Elton John thing in there.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
But one of my goals this year was to write more songs. That was because at the end of every year I sit down and actually write out my goals for the next year.
Well, do you find yourself writing like, I don't know, like Aerosmith says they'll write like 30 songs and then they end up using like 12 or 15 of them? Do you have like a whole bunch of songs sitting somewhere that you just kind of didn't do anything with?
No, my catalog's really not that big because I don't have a whole lot of time to write. When I do write, really concentrate on it.
That's the hard part, making yourself sit down and allot this time to write,
Recently I got hooked up with, who Reba McEntire is, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, we dated.
Now I have to say this because I was reading a little bit about your bio, and let's see if I can quote this verbatim.
Sure.
In Tammie Davis, the Southern belle charm of Reba McEntire blends seamlessly with the country rock sass of Carrie Underwood.
Right, and that's really taking styles. It has nothing to do with their vocal.
Right. Influence.
Influence, and you can hear
that's
that.
That's just who you're listening to when you're growing up.
Right, and believe it or not, I mean, I've had people email me and say, "Well, I hear a little bit of Susie Bogus, or I hear a little bit of Patty Loveless, or I hear this in your voice. And that's because that's who I listen to.
Sure. And it comes out without even...
Those ladies taught me how to sing.
Right.
You know, so when we use the Reba Carey scenario to try to explain to people that they're going to get a little sass, they're going to get a lot of country, you know, and it's going to be kind of mixed together. So that's why they put that on there.
Who do you listen to now? I mean, do you listen to Taylor Swift or everything? Or are you mostly old school?
Did you see the Lucian? No.
You don't like it? I'm just saying that's a name that can't.
No, I don't listen to that.
I'm trying to think.
I'll be honest with you. It's like what they call country music nowadays drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I just...
Well, it's like
the flannel shirt with the hat and the 2 earrings.
Yeah, the whole rock and country thing. I remember when Alabama came on the scene. They really changed country, the way country sounded, at least as far as I'm concerned.
But they still sounded country, though.
Yeah, they did, but it was a little bit more pop country.
Not Backstreet Boys.
Okay, well, every 10 years or so, country music goes through this little transition and all that stuff. So now they're in that, you know, beer drinking, tailgating.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Do I not say that every weekend?
And a real short skirt with a tan line or whatever.
Or the bikini top with the Daisy Duke.
Yeah. So they can't get over that story.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's like cutting Superman 15 times. It's like eventually it's going to get old.
It's like a formula or a template that they're trying to stick to with every band.
Hoping that little will kind of run out, and people will get so tired of it.
You and me both.
And you know, I've talked to my buddies in Nashville, and I had one guy tell me, he said, "Yeah, I talked to a songwriter, a friend of mine who writes for some big artists, and he said he told him on the phone, he said, if I have to write another beer drinking, truck driving, backwoods,
tractor loving,
good looking girl song," he said,
it's always about being in the mud and sitting on the tailgate.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that, you know, that phase is going to phase out, and the real life stories about what country music is all about is our everyday life, our life story, our pitfalls, our ups, our downs, whatever. That's country music. So write about that. You know, sing about that.
It's a life experience.
Now, do you find a lot, like when you're writing a song, do you find yourself writing it from a female perspective, or is it just about writing a song in general? Like, for example, I was listening to an interview about Heart, speaking about them again, and they said it wasn't about the feminine aspect of it as much as it was just writing the music and just being a person, not about being a female, but about being a person and being in certain situations. Like, you go somewhere in the restaurant and you get bad service, and, you know, somebody ticks you off with the check, and you go home, and you ever done anything like that? You've been in a situation, whether it be a relationship, or you're in a situation in a movie theater and somebody's kid won't stop screaming, and you go home and you write lyrics to a song, and it becomes something.
Yeah, I had that's funny you say that. I don't normally do that, but I mean, sometimes you hear people say things that, oh my gosh, that would be a great hook line, or you know, and the more experienced the songwriter is, the more they do that. I mean, some songwriters never go out of songwriter mode, so they're constantly listening for people to say
Sammy Hagar
things.
said he carries around a notebook, and he's got notebooks full of just.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say a phrase, and he's like, that would be good.
You know, they got the voice recorder on your phones now, on every phone, and I have
your
seen
MP3 player. I have an MP3 player.
I have seen people humming something, and then record. I'm guilty of it. Hum something into their voice recorder, and then do something usually with it later on, whether they're playing a guitar, because they get it in their head. And if you're like me, I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago, let alone know earlier in the day. So I have to write it down, or I have to hum it, or I have to get it in some kind of shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, like one of the best investments.
Oh, she's reaching in her bag.
One of the best investments I ever made was this little baby right here.
Oh, wait, is that one of the Tascams?
No, this is a Zoom recorder.
Oh, it's a Zoom, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I can record a WAV file, turn it into an MP3, and then stick it on my computer.
But the recording on that thing is magnificent.
Oh, it's awesome.
I can't believe it.
I bought my wife one of the little $40 ones she writes. She's got 4 books out, and she has ideas all the time, and I just want to listen to her, see if she's talking about some other dudes or something.
Now you can tell somebody in here with money, because she pulls out this professional little piece of equipment in a little case.
All those thousands fell out to the floor. She picked it up pretty quick.
You know. By the way, you didn't lose a roll of 20s with a rubber band around it, did you?
Why do you have that?
Because we found the rubber band.
You need the serial number.
He's full of what we like to call malarkey.
That would be a rim shot right there, by the way.
So some of your influence would be Reba McEntire, of course.
Oh,
Patty.
yes.
I like Patty Loveless. Remember her? Oh, God. One of the best shows I ever saw. I saw Patty Loveless by accident. We went down to Atlanta. I won tickets, and we went to Atlanta, stayed all day, and she was one of the acts. It was her and Alabama, Alan Jackson. I got to see like 15 country acts all day long. It was like a 24-hour period. It was awesome.
Wow.
You know,
And
I
she
remember
was a killer, man. I was an instant fan after I heard her.
when I was a kid in a small town called Goldsboro, my dad and my mom took me to this car lot. Believe it or not, they sold cars, and huge
Tried
car
to
lot,
leave
and
it
they had
there.
this big inside area in the back, I guess, where they parked cars inside, maybe even worked on them, I don't know. And I remember I couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old, if that, and I saw Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton.
Wow.
And when Porter Wagner had his show back in the day,
Right.
and Dolly Parton, she was, I mean, this was back when Moby Dick was still a minnow. This was a long time ago, and Porter Wagner was
But
up
you
there with
are
his shiny suit.
56, so.
Yeah, I know, but I look like I'm 15. So, and I'll never forget, that was my first real show that I saw, was Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton.
Wow.
And that was pretty cool, and I believe, I can't remember some of the other people that were there. I remember those two, but Porter Wagner, you never saw him out of his costume with that shine. I remember sitting there going, God, that suit is bright, But Dolly Parton, I've been to Dollywood,
Oh yeah, a couple times.
and got sick on a ride there. That was a wonderful experience. But yeah, going to go see Dolly Parton and Porter Wagner back when they were really not superstars yet.
Yeah, I think
and
I'm gonna
they're
have to
playing
perform
at
at
a
Dollywood.
car lot.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
That's going to be
That'd
really
be
cool.
awesome.
But until you go play at a car lot, that's not going to do.
Yeah, that's where
I've played it
That would be
before.
more along our lines. So.
Yeah, we play. As a matter of fact, Chris was saying something about a show coming up playing in the parking lot where he works at. Wants to
The
know.
Mirage Gentlemen's Club.
Yeah.
So we're doing good too.
He gave me this hat.
We got a free hat, so we got that.
There you go.
and
But anyway, you have. I was sitting here reading your little bio here. That you have been the consecutive years of nomination for the Carolina Music Award prior to winning
Yes.
in 2011.
Yes.
So how was that to get something really? I mean, when
To
you get
finally
an
get some
award,
recognition,
when you
pretty
get an
hard work.
award like that, I mean, what's going through your head? I mean, you go, wow. I mean, wow. You couldn't believe you're quitting your job one minute, and the next minute you're getting an award.
Right, and it's really for the Carolina Music Awards, it's a great way for artists to take a step. It's
Sure.
just a step in the right direction, and I kind of wish they would do a little bit more for the winners. They really kind of need to set up interviews and do stuff like that, but because that's really what the artist needs. They need PR.
Nowadays,
they need
PR is the
You know,
exactly.
the
You got to have a
more
record company behind an artist,
Oh yeah.
and that's going away because everybody can buy a computer program and make a CD now.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's
Not a great
to
CD,
a certain extent,
but you can make
you're
one.
still, you're still looking at a lot of PR. I mean, the people in the music industry that do really well, they have a really good PR agency behind them, and they keep that artist in front of people, no matter if it's
Right.
magazines, television. They get on, sponsorship deals where they're on TV,
With Bojangles.
talking for a product,
Oh, that's right, Bojangles.
yeah, I haven't actually been on a Bojangles commercial
Yeah,
yet.
we're waiting for that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so we're
Well,
one of our T-shirts.
What's the guy's name that was on American Idol? Scotty.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
he's
but,
done that.
I'm a Clay Aiken man myself.
Oh, hey, I could see that.
Shirtless.
That's what I read on the bathroom wall.
That's still on there.
Do you still do the meet and greets? Is it on Sunday?
Oh, that's on a Thursday.
Thursday.
We don't. I can't do it every Thursday because my schedule's just gotten so
Sure.
crazy. So, but yeah, I'll put those out on Facebook, and
And that's at Bojangles.
that's
right?
at the Bojangles in Advance.
Oh, it's the same one every
okay.
time.
Yes.
You don't do the different ones?
No, I would try to do that if my schedule wasn't so crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
That I do events for Bojangles. Like
Now, how did that come? I mean, they contacted
She didn't bring any
you,
Bojangles
contacted-
with her tonight.
Yeah, what's up, free
What's
chicken?
up with that?
that's one of the biggest questions or the most.
Do you get
asked,
free chicken?
The most asked
She's actually
question.
thin, so I would say no.
Well,
That's
We
one
would
of
be
the-
about 800 pounds if we got
I
free
get that
chicken.
everywhere. It's like, what's up with Bojangles? How'd you get Bojangles?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty
I mean,
cool, though, I think.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. 'Cause
It's
they're-
a lot of hard work to land a sponsor. I mean, that
Sure.
one took us about 9 months
Wow.
of work. So it's not, just something you just walk in and boom,
Right,
you
right.
got a sponsor.
Now, some you pat your husband on the back for, or say you give him all the credit on
yeah,
that one?
For,
Or?
for
He's like,
really
"You're
for
welcome."
driving me, basically, because what happened is it's like, it's a constant thing. You have to keep working and keep following up and keep following up and keep following up. It's just like booking a gig.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the gig unless you bug them.
Yeah, it's just like a
Or
job.
show
You
up
have to
and
show
get in
that
their
you want.
face
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I want to play here."
Right.
You
So
need to talk to our manager.
It's the
You met
same.
Jimmy Henson?
No.
Yeah, he goes by that old
He's
thing
the,
where just wait, and somebody will call.
he's the
There's
well
opportunity.
he's the well-known
Hello?
Henson.
Yeah.
There's opportunity.
Yeah, you can't get gigs that way. You got to get in their face
Right.
and you introduce yourself. They like you. There's more possibility that they're going to book you. So, same thing with a sponsorship. You have to make an attempt, try to make an appointment. Do what you can to get in the door, and it's just, it's a constant. It's just like I said, it's just like booking a show. It's the same thing.
But you have such a name already. I mean, everybody. It looks like they would be contacting you
Well, that would be nice.
for a change. But with today, that's what we talked about. It's like it's so hard. I mean, music is changing. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen it. Even on
Well,
our
really
level.
it has a lot to do with the economy.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
By the way,
everybody's
we do
blaming a
take
lot
food stamps if anybody wants to.
We sure
subscribe
do. We'll
to the-
take that. We'll take Medicaid. We'll take the government cheese, whatever it takes. We're going to be right back. We're going to be back with Miss Tammie Davis, and this is the Dirty of the Hard Rock Show.